This is the Office Manager Diaries, a podcast all about the highs and the lows of professionals in office management around the world. We'll delve into their career journeys and diaries where they'll share their stories, tips for success, and only things office managers understand. Enjoy, and please remember to give us a follow. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Office Manager Diaries. It's Hannah and I'm back with another amazing guest, Rachel Trowsdale, who is the Office Manager at Octopus Energy in the Brighton office. Hi Rachel.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure, real pleasure. So Rachel, can you tell us firstly a little bit more about you and your career history and journey to date, please?
It's a bit varied. This is actually my first proper office manager role. I've done all kinds of things, but they actually all kind of feed into what I'm doing now. When I left school, I left early. It really wasn't for me. School, I wasn't academic at all. And I did an MVQ in childcare and I really wanted to work with children. And I did that for 16 years and worked my way up and was sort of managing nurseries by the end of it. Then I was like, why am I doing this? The joy is not there for me anymore. I want to do something different. So I totally reinvented myself and went to work in an office. I worked for a recruitment company and ran like a payroll department. And again, worked my way up, got trained in some kind of specialist SAP system, and then got headhunted for a job in London, went there, and it was all very corporate. And then I was like, actually, do you know what? Joy's gone again. It's not for me. So I quit that. And then there was some bitty bits. I went and volunteered at a refugee camp in Greece for a few months. Then I set up my own kind of company and was doing kind of web design, graphic design, social media management for female entrepreneurs. That was going really well and I was able to travel with that. I've just got back from 6 weeks traveling around sort of Spain, came back and lost one of my highest paying clients and was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I've just signed up for a bigger flat as well. I'm not going to be able to pay the rent. Oh God, I swear I'd never do it. I swear I'd never work in an office again, but I'm going to have to just until I can build up my client pool again. So I had a quick scan online and there was this, oh God, it was like some part-time job in an office working for an energy company. And I thought, oh God, it sounds awful. I'm going to have to do it. It's only a few days a week. And then I'll build up my clientele. And I started at this office job and I was like, good grief, what is this place? It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. It was not like any office I've ever worked in. And I loved it so much. I ended up sticking around, loving it, gradually lowering my hours with my freelance stuff and quitting that in the end because I love this so much. It suits me so much more. And I'm still here nearly 5 years later. And I literally didn't even want the job. I just took it because I needed a quick bit of money.
Regular listeners know I often say that I go on mute as the guest talks and can't hear me going, oh, laughing in the background and going, yeah, or whatever. But I was laughing so much at that. Oh God, some, crappy energy company. I'll just have to take it. And I was thinking, this is where you land at Octopus and 5 years later, you're still there. What, you mentioned the joy a couple of times, the joy left. What is that joy? Like if I said, put your finger on it, what does that feel like? And what is that for you?
I like to feel that I'm making a difference to people. One person or 750 people like I've got in this office. And I believe I still am 5 years down the line. I feel like I'm somehow, if I'm able to make their day a little bit better, or if I'm able to make their job a little bit easier, then I've done a good thing.
Yeah. And it's that self-satisfaction that gives you the motivation and therefore sparks that joy.
Definitely. Yeah. I really like kind of helping others and feeling like I've made a little bit of a difference. Somehow, in the grand scheme of things, we think really differently at Octopus and we're changing the way the world uses energy and we're kind of helping save the planet sounds a bit dramatic. And somewhere in there, I'm a little cog helping to make these big changes.
Yeah, really lovely. I adore Octopus and all the branding and really enjoyed meeting Nabila, who was a guest previously. And we're going to find out more as we dive further into the podcast today about Octopus and your role and everything else. So let's go there now, more specifically with your role at Octopus. You've said there's 750 people in the Brighton office. You've been there for nearing 5 years. What has that journey been like more specifically? And how do you manage day to day with that many people? Set the scene for us with people in your office, staff that you maybe manage. Tell us everything.
Oh gosh, So when I did start, it was working in a little converted warehouse in the Brighton lanes, and there was 40 people. And I remember joining and thinking, oh my God, 40 people. I don't know what I'm doing. And we provide food and breakfast and lunch for them all. So I used to have to do a little Ocado shop, and I'd be panicking, oh God, have I got enough bagels in for 40 people? And now I'm doing an Ocado shop every morning for 750 people. It blows my mind sometimes. Yeah, so 40 people in a little office. Then we moved to a larger office, which I oversaw kind of the move in of that. And we were like, great, this is great. We've got loads of room to grow. 9 months later, oh God, it's a bit of a squeeze in here now. So we're going to have to look for somewhere else. And it's hard to find large square footage offices in Brighton. So we were looking for a good kind of year or so. So we had to open up the little one again, split the team and put some in another office. So at this point, we had 3 offices that I was kind of overseeing. While we were waiting to find somewhere, there was a new build being built. So we put in for that, but then it got delayed by a year and the leases were running out on these other 3 offices. So I had to close one, delapse it, move some to another one, move people in. In the end, I had to move some people into this half of the block that had been built while the rest of the building work was like the rest of the stuff was built around them. So it's been a tricky few years, but yeah, it started very small and I've just had to kind of grow and adapt as we've grown and adapt. To have people coming up to my desk. We also have Slack, our internal channel to message each other, and I'd get a lot of DMs but now it's too much. I can't cope with that many. I've had to ask for help. I've now got a full-time assistant who's absolutely fabulous. And thanks to her, she's helped me create a quests channel in Slack. She's built a workflow into it so people can ask their questions, and it kind of says what's it relating to. Is it to do with desk assessment or building maintenance, and they put their questions and it all flags up in Slack. Me, her, and the assistant building manager that I look after, we all monitor it and are able to sort of deal with people's issues as they come. That's different, but I don't ever want to lose the contact with people. That's what I love, and I think that's what helps kind of foster this. We're very specific about our Octopus culture, and that is something that we don't ever want to be as corporate. So I try and still encourage people to come to my desk to talk to me. Once a week, me and my assistant do like a walk around, because it's such a blinking vast office. It's like 15 floors, but over 3 blocks that we've knocked together so that we've got enough space. So we do a walk around. It takes about an hour just to walk around the different floors through the blocks, and so that people can come up to us, ask us questions, see us, come and give us a hug. It's all about the people. It should never be corporate here. Well, as long as I'm here, I'm determined it won't be.
Wow. I mean, it's fast, isn't it? And doing it, I call them housekeeping checks. So an hour round, it's pretty big. Ours used to take about 20 minutes, half hour what did we have? 3 floors over, I think it was like 70,000 square feet or something. It's a big space that to manage.
Yeah.
So you manage 2 people then by the sounds of it, they're 2 direct reports.
I've got 3 now.
Wow.
I've got Safi, my wonderful assistant. I've got our assistant building manager who's on site. Our building manager isn't based on site, so we have his kind of eyes and ears here that's down in reception. I look after them day to day. And then I also have, it sounds bonkers, a food and beverage manager, because we have an in-house juice bar and we provide a lot of food for everybody. So I had to kind of pass that on to somebody else as well. So I've got 3 now. It's crazy.
It's so funny, isn't it? Like, I'm such a huge believer in fate, and it just sounds like this was just the perfect match for you at that time in your career, and the ability to grow it with them and to grow you and your development. It's incredible. So I've mentioned briefly, we've had Nabila from Octopus on before in our first season of the Office Manager Diaries, and she works in a different location to you. How do the locations vary, and how do you guys work with each other across the Office Management Collective to make the business more successful within the remits that you have?
Oh yeah, lovely Nabila. She's from the Leicester office. Yes, I've mentored her when she first joined. I did her first interview as well when she went for the job. Yeah, with the offices, they do differ. We don't have like a kind of one fits all. We're all encouraged to kind of let the office grow and kind of put their own stamp on things. And we've got different kind of demographics and culture within each one. Here in Brighton, we've got a huge LGBTQ plus community, a lot of neurodiverse staff, and our culture is slightly different to Leicester's. They've got a different demographic of staff. Everything's based around the people. So each office is slightly different.
I seem to remember Nabila saying that you guys, as office managers within each of the offices, have regular catch-up, share ideas, and like say mentoring each other and so on. Does that still happen quite actively?
Yes, we have a catch up online every couple of weeks to go over kind of our bugbears and what's gone well and any questions that we've got, so that we're all kind of on the same page. We've also got our Slack channel and we're constantly asking, checking things in there. And then we have like an actual meet up kind of event where we all get together and have some sort of learning exercise and fun exercise and a bit of a social.
It's so important, isn't it? Because you are, I mean, even though you've got a team now, they're not doing exactly what you do. And so having that network within your business is really key.
Oh my gosh, exactly. On that channel, the things we put in there, just nobody really knows what we do they? They just kind of see us floating around and go, oh, there's the office manager. I bet their job's really fun. And they kind of think we just, I don't know, order a bit of stationery and plan a few events. But there's so much more to it. Look, we're literally the glue that holds the office together. And nobody quite understands it like another office manager. So the rants and funny things we put in our Slack channels are just quite funny.
I'd love to just dip in there one day and just have a quick scroll. Fascinated to know what's there and what the chat is.
This podcast is brought to you in association with Bespoke Commercial Cleaning. For 20 years, Bespoke has been innovating to make your cleaning service best in class. Starting from humble roots, Bespoke now cleans national monuments, city skyscrapers, and offices in and around London and the South East. But what's the secret sauce? Why Bespoke? Because we can tailor any cleaning system around you. We're on a mission to make excellence in cleaning the standard. It all starts with our staff, benefiting from living wages, an industry-leading employment welfare package, and genuine career progression. Today, we are carbon neutral, disability confident, and pioneering a new approach to commercial cleaning that puts our employees and your wishes at the heart of all we do. Visit us today at bespoke-cleaning.co.uk. That's bespoke-cleaning.co.uk. In celebration of our partnership with the Office Management Group, we're offering to plant a tree in the name of anyone who responds to this and quotes the code TREE. If you're unsure if you're getting the best, contact us today at bespoke-cleaning.co.uk.
What have been your biggest challenges in your career to date, and why would you say they have been?
My biggest challenge, I think, has been, like you say, kind of upscaling the way I work, because we've grown so rapidly, so quickly, and I have no experience of this. I've never done this before. I've really had to adapt and find new ways of doing things. But luckily I do like kind of problem solving and finding solutions to things. That's really helped. Like I say, instead of all the DMs, we've now got a workflow within a Slack channel. We do the walk rounds. I kind of chair a meeting every couple of weeks with all the leads, because we've got so many different divisions in this office. We all come together and I sort of chair a meeting and let them know the updates I've got for them. They kind of feed back to me anything they've got that's come from their divisions and departments, just so that we've always got that line of communication.
Yeah, it can be very difficult, can't it, when you're doing your day job, but then the growth is there, and that growth comes with an increase in demand on you and your time. And as a business grows, the culture shifts slightly, doesn't it? It's very hard, I guess, if you think back to your 40-person days and your now 750 days, hopefully the culture's still there and the heart and soul of it, but it will have shifted, because it's natural when you bring so many different people in and they can't all interact with each other. They don't all know each other, I'm sure, that well, compared to probably how you know most of them. So yeah, you are that glue, I think, still going through that growth, very much so. Nabila won our Newcomer of the Year award back in 2022, I believe it was. You've gone for Office Manager of the Year this year, which I'm really pleased to see. And I have had a look at your evidence. The awards are coming up at the ceremony in June, so the judges are quite literally going through everything as we speak. The evidence looks incredible. The pictures, the slide, let's talk about this. We can't share with the listeners what I can see, but set the scene for us. Just describe the colours and the motions.
It's a whole immersive experience when you come to the Brighton office. But as soon as you walk into reception, the reception is built like you're walking onto the Palace Pier. So you walk along the wooden boards, you've got the bright lights and the pier sign. You walk through and you've got like a mural on the side, like you're walking along the railings by the sea, and there's a sunset with the West Pier in the background. And then once you're inside, there's a Helter Skelter on the left-hand side, and that's a large tunnel slide that comes down from floor 1. We've also got a ball pit here. We have it's full of plushy toys. We've got our brand logo is a little pink octopus, and we have big plushies made of him and sent out to customers. We use them for events and stuff. We've got a ball pit full of them that you can come and jump in, take a selfie. We've got also on this floor, we've got like a demo wall, which showcases a lot of the other things we do. We're not just an energy provider. We build and install solar panels, we build and install heat pumps, we lease electric vehicles. We've actually got a department on the ground floor where all the engineers come and do their training and their hot works. They're learning to solder and install smart meters and chargers and things. We've got one of those walls sort of showing the solar size of the solar panels and the car chargers and stuff. We've also got an electric vehicle in here as well. We had to get permission from the council to close the street, get a cherry picker in, take a window out and crane in an electric vehicle. While we were there, we thought we might as well make the most of it, so we craned in a tuk-tuk and put a coffee machine in the back of that. Then on some other floors, we've got, you know, like the working floors where all the desks are. They're all still really cool. They're either pink or purple. We've got some lovely furniture, and I had some Chesterfields commissioned in our brand colours. So we've got a bright pink one, a bright purple one, a turquoise one on different floors. Oh, we've got a wellness suite downstairs where we have a masseuse that comes in twice a week. So she's got a room where she does that, prayer room, and a neurodiverse room, because that's really important. We've got a lot of neurodiverse staff and we do everything we can to keep everybody included. We've got, what else have we got? Oh, our event space on floor 5. That's where we all come together on Fridays for our family dinner. It's kind of built like an amphitheatre with the stage seating, and then we've got like a huge audio visual system and these big massive screens that come down where we all link up for our kind of family dinner, we call it. It's like a company update on a Friday. We get out the drinks and all sit around for that. We've got an in-house juice bar that we had put in. Carousel, which is kind of made with coffee machines inside, so you go in to get your coffee. It's roof terrace, we've got a games area with like an arcade game, ping pong table, snooker table, dartboard. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff actually when I start reeling it off.
I need to come and see this office as soon as
God,
possible.
you should come and have one of the coffees at the carousel.
Yeah, I absolutely need to get that in the diary. And so my head goes to 2 places. This is incredible. Well, a few places actually. Let's go through them all. This is incredible. I need to come and have a look.
Absolutely.
I can see the pictures, but I'm desperate to get there now. You're describing it in even more detail. But also, I'm thinking probably the listeners on to this episode are thinking, oh my God, I want to work for Octopus. This sounds incredible. But then my other head with my office management hat on goes, oh my Lord, health and safety,
Yes.
dartboard, pool table, slide, carousel with coffee on. I'm like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, it's interesting. And because Octopus is slightly different the way we do things, we don't have an HR department. We're all collectively responsible for that. And sort of same goes for HR as well. I will do risk assessments on, you know, the dartboard and the slide because it terrifies me. But we are all responsible kind of for the safety in the office and for respecting the space and each other. And it seems to work really well. We're very kind of specific about the kind of people we employ. And like if you're coming into the operations division, talks to our customers on the phone, I think it's about 6 stages to the interview so that we know we're getting exactly the right person. And it works really well because honestly, this office, I'm so blessed to spend 5 days a week with these humans. They're such lovely people. And it's all thanks to the, you know, the guys, the recruitment guys that pick these lovely, empathic and kind people to come and work for us.
It's got to be such a clever recruitment process to keep that culture together that I referred to earlier, especially when you grow to that volume, but also, like you say, to respect each other, to respect the space, to respect the differences you've mentioned about LBGQ plus, isn't it?
LGBTQ plus, or it could be
LGBTQ plus.
LGBTQ plus, no, or LGBTQIA plus is the full one.
To have all the different cultures, personalities, backgrounds, what we would consider protected characteristics essentially in there, and to make it diverse, it must be such a rich environment, both in culture, but it also in terms of respect and just that work ethic. I'm kind of picturing it quite nicely, that everybody's got a really good work ethic and culture.
We've got such a lovely culture, and so many, I really pride myself that our office is so inclusive and really diverse, and everybody feels seen, heard and cared for, and they deserve to be here, and we really want them here, and anything I can do to make them feel at home, I'll do my absolute best. So we've got like the neurodiverse space. When I designed this office, I made sure we had sort of darker, low level light corners. I do a lot of desk adaptations for our neurodiverse staff. They need noise cancelling headphones. Sometimes, because some of the areas are a bit like a call centre environment, there's a lot of background noise, and that's quite distressing for some people. So I provide like little loop earplugs so they can walk around the office and it's not too overwhelming. For our LGBTQ plus community, we've got a lot of committees. We've got all our toilets are gender neutral. I'd like to think that everybody feels that this is like their second home and they were welcome here.
Yeah. Do many people use the slide?
Yes, usually when they first start, you go down once, it's so quick you never go again.
That's hilarious. Do you give like the Helter Skelter by me? I say by me, it's not like outside my house, but down. So I'm from Essex, near sort of Southend. Grew up in Shoebury and all this kind of area, and there's a Helter Skelter still there, which is the original from when I was little. It was called Peter Pan's. Now it's called Adventure Island, I think, if anyone ever wants to venture this way. But you used to get the sacks, right? You'd put your feet in a sack and then go down on the sack.
Yes.
Do you get those there?
Yes. Do you know, we've had engineers go down sitting on their high vises because it makes it faster. And I'm like, please don't do that. You're going to give me a heart attack.
Oh my goodness. So how, with all of this in mind, do you approach building and maintaining these positive relationships with your colleagues and stakeholders within that office environment?
They all pretty much know me by now. They know I'm totally approachable. They can come to me for anything. Same with there's my assistant as well. We're both so kind of open, and we're there to serve. We're there for them. We do those, like I say, those walk rounds so that I get to get through all 3 blocks. People get to see us, know who we are. They can come up to us, give us their problems, give us a hug.
What about the stakeholders? Well, I mean, staff are stakeholders, but what about maybe the execs and the seniors? How does it work there with those?
It's totally no different because we're a non-hierarchical company. There is no kind of boss sitting in his ivory tower. We've got a CEO just sits on the floor above me on a desk. Same with everybody else. He joins in family dinners and stuff. We've got the main CEO that's at the headquarters in London. He pops down now and again. He never tells you he's coming, which always, oh God, panics me. And he just turns up and he's like, all right, Rach. And he comes and just sits down for a chat. And sometimes we'll go out for dinner. And yeah, they're all really down to earth and lovely people. Everybody's sort of approachable here. There's no kind of corporate CEO in a separate office.
Egos at the door kind of mentality.
Yes, absolutely.
Are there any particular strategies, bar what you've mentioned about, as I said, the housekeeping checks, if we call it that, where you are walking around? And I've mentioned about this on a tip, I think, in the podcast so far, that it is so important to go around, I often say every day, or, depending on the size of your office, every week or whatever as a minimum, because it raises your profile as an office manager, but it also makes you so much more accessible and ticks big health and safety boxes. But other than that, are there any other particular strategies or tools that you find effective for enhancing the productivity within your office and fostering that work culture?
We kind of give people the trust in people. We don't sort of say, oh, you mustn't do this, you mustn't do that. That's not what we do here. They're encouraged to be themselves, to know that we trust them to make the right decisions, to respect others, to respect this space. And the more you do it, it kind of fosters the behaviour that you want to see. You're the kind of leading by example. We've got this far and it's still working.
Amazing. So it's almost the sheep mentality, right? That psychological, if everybody's doing it, then generally every new joiner coming in will have that same behavior. And it's going to take quite a different person, which by the sounds of it won't happen given the stringent hiring and recruitment process to change that. So now I'm keen to ask a very probably topical question, which is the dishwasher. Do they
Oh,
load the dishwasher themselves?
oh, this we had to change when we moved into this big office. Before, yes, they were all responsible for doing it themselves. But now we have got, let me count up, we've got 10 kitchens. We've got 10 kitchens on site, and each one has got 2 dishwashers, and then the main kitchen's got 5 commercial dishwashers. So no, we've changed it slightly, and every little kitchen on each floor and this huge big kitchen where I provide all their breakfast and lunches and they can cook for themselves and stuff. We've now got some lovely housekeepers, and every kitchen has got a little pantry on the back of it with dishwashers in, and the cleaners, the people put it in the pantry and then the cleaners will put it in the dishwasher and it's like constant reloading, getting the mugs out, putting more mugs out on the tea point, running another dish, getting the wash, putting the plates out, getting that out for the eating area. It's a constant dishwasher use now.
Yeah, because I was thinking about my time at Berenberg with these 3 floors and whatever, and we had generally 2 tea points kitchens on each floor, again 1 to 2 dishwashers in each, and it varied so much. And I always used to be like, thank you so much to the people when I saw them putting them in front of the people that I knew probably weren't regularly putting stuff in. And we had full-time housekeepers on site, but they're doing all floors. And so do they all put them in the pantry? Do they leave them on their desk, or is everybody well trained to at least put them in the place that they need to?
Yes, they are quite good. They do all put them
Yeah.
in the pantry or on these little catering trolleys, and then the
Yeah.
can wheel them away to the next free dishwasher. So yeah, they
Yeah.
are pretty good. And yeah, like you say, I used to do that a lot in childcare, like positive reinforcement. Well done for tidying up
Yeah.
our stuff. Well done for putting the Lego in the right box. And I do it now still with all these
But
20-year-olds.
it works.
It does. It so does. Everybody loves some praise, don't they?
Yeah, there was a lunch and learn this week with one of our partners, CyberSafe, a guy called Mark, who is incredible. He's highly intelligent, and it was a very interesting lunch and learn. And it talked about, I can't remember the exact type, but it was very much about human nature. And he showed some videos where years and years ago, psychiatrists, psychologists did this experiment, and they put canned people into a lift, and different members of the public would walk into the lift. So there'd be 3 canned people, 1 member of the public, and say that he got the 3 canned people to like turn all to one way, to the front of the lift, back of the lift, or whatever. And within seconds, the member of the public would just naturally turn, not knowing why the others had turned or realizing that they were sort of set up. But it's just that human nature that we do the norm. And there was another one where I can't remember the exact maths, but say, for example, people were asking in a room, what's 2 plus 2? And again, there were canned people in there. And some of them would say 3, for example. All of them said 3, bar the people that were the unknown members of the public. And they would then also say 3, knowing that the answer should be 4. Or, there was all these things like this because people tend to go with what feels comfortable because everybody else is doing it. So I think once you've got the masses doing it, it works. It's just how do you get them to do it in the
That's
first
it. It is. It's hard, isn't it? And when it's kind of like not herding, that's the wrong word, but getting them in the right direction of what you want them to do.
Usher.
You have to really kind of think about it, like the kitchen, that's just such a high traffic area. And because I provide, they've got like a whole panini station where they can make all their panini makers, they fry eggs on it. There's toasters, there's a fridge full of food, and I have to try and think how they're going to behave, where I should put the fridge of food, where the panini makers should go to make it easier for the traffic and the way they're going to go. And actually it didn't work out the way I'd planned it, the way I designed the kitchen. So I have had to move the fridge because they were all congregating up one end and making all their paninis and their salads and their omelettes on 2 of the breakfast bars and ignoring the other 3. So now I've had to move things around because I know they're going to have to walk a bit further and they're not going to bother walking all the way back again to the paninis. They're going to stop and make their lunches at these across all of the breakfast bars now. So it is kind of thinking about these huge group behaviours and how you can use them to your advantage or adapt the space to make things easier for them.
Absolutely. And this is the thing you alluded to earlier, that people just think, oh, she just orders a bit of stationery and does the event for some consumables and a bit of breakfast and lunch every week or every day in your case. But there is so much involved in these roles, and you have to be creative, you have to be observant, you have to be adaptable and adapting those environments constantly so that it works and it saves you work in the long run, because if they're not doing the things they should be doing or ideally are doing and using and putting away or closing cupboard doors or congregating in too many areas where it becomes unsafe or it's just, a mess, there's so many things to think about, especially at the scale that you're talking about. So
yeah, definitely. It's interesting. Some of the, like, they're quite a young demographic. They're probably mostly under 25, the staff we've got here, and some of the questions I get asked are things, silly things like, oh, my monitor's not working, and I go over to their floor and I'm like, right, let's have a look. What do you think? Look, I can show you now. It's not plugged in. So if you plug it in, it's going to work. And then I'll have someone going, oh, just to let you know, the toilet on the gender neutral toilet on floor 3, block C, it's not flushing. And I'm like, I know, that's the one with the sign on the door that says do not use because it's out of order. God love. But
God love people.
I've realised they're all very visual, and putting plates and cutlery in drawers and cupboards is absolutely no use to them whatsoever. Even if you label them, even if you put a picture of cutlery and the word cutlery on it, it's absolutely not, they're not going to find it. So we've had to take all the cupboard fronts off, make it look nice, and now everything's visual in open shelving. You can see the plates, you can see the bowls, you can see the cutlery because they're in stands on top of the breakfast bar, because it just doesn't work.
Oh my word. It's making me think, isn't it in the IKEA showrooms that in some of the kitchens they've got see-through cupboards and doors so that you can see the
Yeah,
storage capacity, and they do it as a show? But yeah, that's a good idea. Just get see-through perspex doors, people, that
yeah,
stop us labeling what's where. And you must see like the flashing arrows, or they sort of walk
yeah.
in and it's a Siri or an Amazon dot type kitchen, and you just go, Siri, where's the cutlery? Cutlery is in the drawer in front of you,
Yes.
Bob.
Yes, that's exactly it. I almost avoid going up to make my lunch because I don't ever get up to go and make it. I get up there. By the time I've walked in, someone's going, Rachel, we've run out of knives. And I'm like, check the breakfast bar. And then they're like, oh, there's no eggs. We've run out of eggs. I'm like, check over there. Look, if you look there, it's there. Oh, we've run out of ketchup. No, there isn't. There's more in that cupboard labelled condiments. Oh, dear, it just...
The similarities between your nursery experience and here, I'm seeing them. It is mum and dadding, isn't it, in these offices? It really is.
It is. Yeah, they do call me the office mum, which is lovely.
This week's tip is all about strategic partnering. Now, I have done a number of webinars and training sessions on this. Our most recent office management show, I talked about this in how to stay ahead in the future of the office management role. And it is really important to think about this, especially if you want to grow and evolve in your role as an office manager or an office management professional, if your title isn't quite office manager. And really, what it means is when you look back at businesses who were perhaps merging because of a buyout, or HR roles and HR people, they would start to look at how they can merge those businesses strategically so that they align well in that merger. What are the things that work really well? What are the things that don't? And how can we strategize to make that merge, to bring that jigsaw piece together? When it's the HR role and the people role, they look at how they can strategically align to the business to ensure that they're employing the right people, for example, to make sure that they are managing the people and the culture elements of onboarding, and then for the duration of an employee's lifespan within that company, so that it fits and aligns to the business's needs and goals and aims and so on. As an office manager, you can do the same. Would you have the confidence to go to your CEO or MD, particularly if you don't have the direct reporting line into them, and say, where is the business going? What is the business's mission and objectives or core values, aims, mission statement, whatever it might be, for the coming year to 5 years? Where do they want to be? And how can I, as the office manager here, as a person looking after so much in this environment and bringing so much value in these roles, influence that and help support that drive to get to where the business wants to be? It's so important in our roles to really step back at times, which I know can be hard when we don't have much time, to think about that if we want to really be side by side, stood shoulder to shoulder with those people at the table within the business. So think about how you can do it and carve out time, and I'll do some more tips on that in the next few weeks.
So now's my favourite segment on the pod, which is to ask you to share something, please, from your office manager diary that perhaps is a you won't believe it but moment.
Oh, I did have one, and then something happened last week as well, and I thought, oh, good grief, maybe I'll use that. So last week, like I said, we've got this big event space where everybody comes and sits on this amphitheatre, and these huge screens come down from the ceiling, and projected across it is a company update, but it's way more fun than that. And there's slides and our CEOs on there, and we link up with the other offices around the globe, or just sometimes just the UK. And they tell us about important updates and stuff that's going on in the company. It's all really quite interesting. We all sit there with a little glass of Prosecco or a beer. And last Friday, I was at the lectern trying to get the screens down. They came down, but I couldn't get any visual on it, but I could hit, but we had the sound. And I was like, oh God, this has never happened since we moved in here. These work really well. Oh God, don't tell me that this is they've packed in. So I'm pressing all these different buttons on the lectern, and all we can hear is the visual. So I sort of said to everyone, just sorry for, bear with me, but for now we'll just have to listen to what they're saying. And our CEO's on there going, oh, and we've got some exciting news this week. Our special guest is Idris Elba. And you can hear everybody cheering in the other offices that can see the screen. We can't see anything. And then you can hear this wonderful deep tones of Idris Elba talking, and everyone's looking at each other going, is it really? Is it him? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just frantically pressing all these buttons on the lectern, thinking, oh God, please no, of all the days that the visual doesn't work. And then finally it did come on, and it was Idris Elba on our screens chatting to us all on this family dinner. Thank God I got at least half of the interview bit with him. Oh God, I'd never have lived that down if we'd have had Idris Elba on and didn't get to see him.
There was parts of me wondering if the twist in the story here was that the CEO had played a prank on you. I mean, it's not 1st of April yet, but when this guy goes out, I think it will have just been. And the prank is that they pretended that he was on and it's him, but none of you could see the screens because they'd actually done something their end, so that they turned the camera off and didn't tell you. And I was thinking,
God, yeah.
was this just a massive Octopus Energy prank that you all thought? And no, he was actually there, and it was a tech fault, which is wonderful.
Oh my God, thank God it did work. It was funny. It was supposed to be answering questions because we've partnered with him because he runs a charity out in Sierra Leone, and we're partnering with him to bring solar panels to some of the kind of slums out in Sierra Leone so people can generate their own electricity. So that's why he's on there, and that's why he came to talk to us. But the chat panel was just going crazy. You could see all the chats, but no one was composed enough to actually answer a question. It was just a load of chats saying, oh my God, will you marry me? Oh my God, I love you. What's your phone number? Oh my God.
What's your phone number? He's like, yeah, sure, here, have it. Publicly to how many people were there online?
Oh, thousands, because we've linked up to all the other, just the UK offices, I think. 3,000 or something people.
My goodness. My goodness.
It was
Wow.
fun. So that was a bit of a disaster. And then my original story I was going to tell you, which is another disaster actually. There's quite a few that happened in this office. We'd been in a few months, and I had some VP guests from the Spain office come over to come and see how we designed it, the kind of layout, so they can get a bit of the vibe of the Octopus culture and bring it back to Spain to set up their new office. They arrived, and I was like, hello, welcome, come on, let's get in the lift and I'll show you all the bit, give you the tour. We jumped in the lift, and then all of a sudden it jolted and everything went black, and then the emergency light came on. I was like, oh, you are kidding. Of all the times to get bloody stuck in the lift. I was like, it doesn't feel right. though. So I rang the assistant building manager that sits on reception, and I was like, what? Something's gone on, but I don't think no, it's a power cut. It's a power cut. It's across all 3 offices. I was like, ring the building manager, ring me back. So she got off on the phone, sorting that out. I was like, I need to get to my people. I need to, make sure they're all right. They're all sitting there in darkness. And then I could see we were still on ground floor, and I know you're not supposed to, but there was someone on the other side, because there's speed gates in reception. Lifts are one side, reception's the other. The assistant building manager's there. I've rung her back going, I'm on the ground floor. I know we haven't lifted off from the floor yet. Can you come and pull the doors open? She said, I can't, because the power's gone. The speed gates, I can't get through. So then there was someone else that had come down. They opened prized the doors open. I got out, so did with the Spanish visitors, and I had to just ditch them. I was like, I'm so sorry, can't take a seat over there. And I just ran upstairs, ran onto sort of the main floor with the team that are doing operations and talking to customers. And they're all just sitting there, bless them, at their laptops in the dark, carrying on, taking their calls, because they had charge on their Macs. They'd lost their large monitors and all the ceiling lights were out. But they were carrying on. I was like, right, everybody, I got on Slack. I was like, right, everybody, don't worry. We're looking into it. It might be a quick fix. It was not a quick fix. There was no power. We all sat in the dark for a little while we were trying to kind of work out what we were going to do and trying to get hold of the people that down in the building management system, down in the basement. And then someone came up to me and went, there's no water coming out of the taps. And I'm like, what? And they went, yeah, there's no water. And I was like, no, sorry, what? We're in the middle of a power cut. I'm dealing with electricity. My head can't compute what, there's no water either. And they were like, no. And then someone came over and went, you know what? The toilet's not flushing. And I'm like, oh, stop. Can someone just go and check the gender neutral and the other toilet and tell me if they're flushing or not? And they came out and went, no, there's no water. And I was like, oh God, no, you're right. Because there's no electricity, and we pump up the water to thing. So then we had no water, and I was like, well, I've got to send everybody home, but we've got to work this out because we're manning the phone lines for the customers. We can't just all drop off and 300 phone lines go. So the operations managers were trying to work out who could go home immediately and live close, who I'd need to get taxis for. And then finally the Wi-Fi dropped out, so that was it. We were absolutely couldn't do anything. And I got a lot of taxis, ran around a lot of co-working spaces in Brighton, and I booked out every co-working space that was available and just had to ship people to these different locations because not everybody can work from home. And the ones that could went home, others went to these co-working spaces. Later that day I was like, oh God, those bloody Spanish visitors, can't remember what happened to them. Don't know where they ended up. What a great first visit for them.
3 hours later, they're still sitting there going,
in the dark.
I mean, that just shows the importance of an effective business continuity plan, everybody listening, and making sure you've got, even if it is other co-working spaces on tap, to act fast. You do think utilities, okay, if it's power, how far does that cut everything else? And like you say, if depending on the system, I went to this hotel yesterday and the toilet scared the crap out of me, like not literally, but it scared me because it was all electric. So you walk in and the lid raises as you walk into the toilet. I mean, it was very, very state of the art, but I was like, what the hell? I thought it was going to talk to me in a second, like, hi, ma'am, sit down. I was just like, what is going on? And then you sit, you do your business, and then you stand up, and it's meant to sort of do the electronic flush, and it did that, but it was just going through it. But then I realized it's got this control panel where you can spray to clean your bottom if you wish, and all these other things. Oh, the seat was warm when I sat down because it's on a warm mode. But those toilets would fail in a power outage. You wouldn't have your warm bum anymore.
No.
So you got to know your systems, haven't you? And yeah, good for you for getting everybody out to co-working spaces. That must have been a hell of a task.
Yeah, God, it was on that scale. It was a lot bigger. We've had a power cut before in an old office, so I do have, luckily, accounts with a lot of the local places. But yeah, I had no idea new builds would be so problematic. We've had power cuts, Wi-Fi completely go down. We've had raw sewage leaking out into reception. We've had a huge 7-foot light fall from the ceiling and land across the desk and actually hurt somebody. It's just been one thing after another, because I thought the moving in here was going to be the hard bit. Like the design and the move, and once we're in, it's phew, breathe a sigh of relief. But actually, no, this has been harder, having to deal with all the crap that keeps going wrong.
So I bought a new build house a number of years ago, and there's that settling period, isn't there, where the building kind of changes slightly and the cracks literally show. And yes, that sort of settling period can cause issues. And I know at JP Morgan, we had quite a few partitions go suddenly, just smash into smithereens. I mean, there was safety glass, they didn't go too far, but one sort of 2-3 week period, the exec offices or the MD office, I think it was for EDs and MDs, so directors and managing directors. And we were just sitting there, like the assistants sort of sat outside their offices, and the glass just choo. The building wasn't that old. It can happen with these things. And again, that's stuff that people just don't know about that sits in our role.
Yeah. Gosh, that's scary, yeah.
I hope the person that had that fitting fell on them was okay.
Yeah, they were. Luckily they were.
Yeah, goodness me. So actually, this leads us on to my next question quite nicely. How do you handle challenging situations such as conflicts or unexpected changes and maintain a sense of calm and professionalism?
Conflict isn't something that really arises here. I've never had to deal with that in 5 years. There might be some misunderstandings sometimes, but we're all kind of encouraged to be really open and communicative with each other and transparent. So once you explain to somebody, oh, I did this because this, they understand. But no, we've not had conflicts or anything. Unexpected changes often happen. I've just had to learn to breathe and go with it now, and just try and make sure that it's making as minimal an impact on the staff as possible. Because, like I say, we've got quite a lot of neurodiverse staff. Change can be really unsettling. So I go to them first and make sure I know that they're okay and are prepared for whatever this change is.
Yeah, sense of calm and professionalism.
Yes, I think that is important, because they all kind of, because I'm the office mum, they all kind of look to me. When the fire alarm goes off, they all just put like meerkats, all turn to me to watch me to see what I'm going to do. If I leap up and put on my high vis and say, come on guys, it's time to start leaving, they'll do that. Or if I just sit there and kind of go, it's fine, it's just a test. Yeah, they're all kind of looking to me at what I'm going to do or how I react. So I've got to make sure that I am showing that I am calm, even when I'm not, because I don't want to get them in the flap. They do worry quite easily. And they're sensitive souls, bless them. So I have to make sure, yeah, that I keep kind of remain calm. And I'm that kind of beacon of calmness for them, really.
It's that thing, isn't it? I think in every situation, I've been through a few disaster recovery situations and emergencies and all sorts in my office career. And people do just, like you say, they're literally meerkats. What's Hana going to do? And you have to make sure that you're demonstrating, like you say, that calm and professionalism, but also the almost like authoritativeness that you've got it. Don't worry about it, because you can get some people in these situations who really panic and make the situation worse than it needs to be, because they're then that mentality and they're like, oh my God, and then everyone else follows suit, like, oh, we'll all panic then. And yeah, so you have to be like, get that message out quickly, don't you, and deliver it.
Yeah.
Let's talk projects. You've mentioned about the various office moves you've had to handle over the years that you've been there. What sort of other things, or perhaps talk about those more, have you been issued with? And either in these projects where you've had to manage them or you've been part of the projects, how have they been tackled, and what were any of the learning outcomes from them?
Two of the projects that stick in my head are, one was a big large scale event, and the other one was something quite sensitive that really we needed to be better with. It was to do with people that are transitioning. We've got quite a lot of trans members of staff, people that are transitioning and are ready to change their name. We need to change their email address, we need to change their HiBob profile, their security systems, which then feeds through to their Slack name, their name on our software that we use, the customer base system. And it was too messy and it was clunky and it wasn't good enough. And the journey that they're going through is hard enough as it is. It should be really streamlined. They should be able to come to me and say, I'm ready. I'm ready to change my name, and I go, yep, okay, it's done. So I sat down with one of the senior leaders, and we created like a form, an anonymous kind of. Well, it's not anonymous because their name is on it. A form that we kind of embedded in our internal internet, and people can go on there and submit, and it just comes directly to me from across the UK. They could be based in the London office, Manchester office. It all comes through to me, and then I contact them and say, hi, congratulations on your your name change. Please bear with me. It's going to take me about 24 hours to get this done. If you refresh everything, it should all be moved over to your new name, and your dead name no longer exists, because if you're transitioning, your old name is called your dead name. So we put that in place, and that went really well. And I'm so pleased that I was able to help make that a little bit of a less stressful journey for them, make that a little bit easier.
Like you say, in that situation, there's so much emotion with that, and probably excitement for them as well to be who they are, right? And in the heart and mind and everything else that goes on with people that struggle with the identity of who they were born as and everything else. But it must be quite daunting to explore that in a professional setting. And I suppose for you, it's much more open-armed and everything else. But if you take Octopus and the culture and the location, as you say, in Brighton, it's very, very diverse within that community and the wider community. But it must be very difficult for people going through that transition to approach HR or the office manager and say, this is happening and this is what I'd like to be done. And so you're right, it's just about making that in every sense, not just with this particular situation, but in every sense where people have needs, be it people who are pregnant or have become disabled or have had a break from a skiing accident or anything. The ability for them to come and ask for change and support has to be there, doesn't it? And you have to be open-armed and responsive and efficient with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very interesting.
There was another event, but it was just like a large scale event, which didn't happen in the end. I was gutted, so I put so much effort into it. It was we used to have summer socials when we were a lot smaller, and I'd created this, it was like a mini festival. I'd hired a field, loads of sort of marquees, a dance floor DJ, some food trucks, coaches to get like 400 staff there. I was so excited because I just couldn't wait to see their faces, and it makes it all so worthwhile when I see them enjoying themselves. But we couldn't go ahead in the end. I'd been planning it for a while, and it was all focused on this one date, and then the kind of the energy crisis started, and all the prices were being hiked up, and then we got wind that this date is the day that they're going to announce on the news the new price, price increase and stuff, and it just would have been really inappropriate for our customers, and then getting this terrible news, and we're blooming partying in a field somewhere having our kind of celebratory summer social. It just would have been really bad taste, so we cancelled it, and I managed to turn it around, and we got the food trucks, went to our local hospital, and all the NHS workers got a gourmet burger for dinner that night, so that was good.
Oh, it's lovely that you did something good with it instead, and that's so key, isn't it, in Octopus's values and ethics and culture as to how they operate as a business. So yeah, that's great. So what, as my final question then, Rachel, does the future look like for you? Are there any specific career goals for you?
Do you know what? No, because I absolutely love where I am right now. I want to stay here and see it through. I still feel like there's a lot of bumps that need smoothing with this office. I think the culture we still need to embed a bit more. Now we're growing, it's obviously getting a little bit diluted. We need to kind of bring that back. And I want to get this office exactly how I want it, so people can really enjoy it. There's still some bits and tweaks that we need to make.
Lots to do. When did you move into the office?
In fully across all 3 blocks, it was October last year.
Just gone, yeah. So you're still in that snagging
Yeah.
phase, aren't you? Yeah, and working out what works. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I've got my wonderful assistant. I'm excited to see what we can do together to kind of bring it all forward. It's exciting. So yeah, I don't want to go anywhere or change roles or move up or anything for the good while.
Good. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me on the Office Manager Diaries. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Whoa, listener, don't leave me just yet. I have something really exciting to share with you. We are back again hosting the Office Management Show in 2024. This is going to be on the 24th of April this year, and we've got so many things in store for you. This is an exhibition and conference rolled into one in one day in London. I appreciate we've got loads of international listeners, and I'm so sorry that this is an in-person event, but the seminar sessions can be bought online afterwards at any time in the Office Management portal. So if you aren't a member of that, do register for a free account, and once the show has finished in April, we will put the sessions that are recorded on there for you to listen back to. But for those that can get to London, please do join us. It's completely free to get your ticket from our website, www.theofficemanagementgroup.com/the-show. We've got some incredible speakers lined up, including our keynote speaker, Naomi Riches, MBE, who is a Paralympic champion. She is going to take our VIP breakfast for the day, and it's just £25 for a ticket to attend that breakfast. There's people like myself speaking on health and safety. We've got Excel, AI, confidence and difficult conversations, culture, sustainability. There's so many hot and incredible topics. You do not want to miss this, as well as over 40 exhibitors showcasing their products and services to you. It is completely free to register, to get a ticket and to attend. There is a small fee of £15 to attend any and all of the seminar sessions that you wish to, and a £25 fee to join us at the VIP breakfast, and breakfast is included in that ticket price. 24th of April 2024 in London. Go to our website www.theofficemanagementgroup.com/the-show for all the information and to register for your free ticket. I look forward to seeing you then.